The Tao of Self-Confidence, episode 468. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. Visit our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits. Well, hello friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap Chan, and today I have a phenomenal lady on the show today. She's an ethical fashion blogger, and I'm just really excited to have her on today and share her story and tips with us on self-confidence. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Jella Jornales. Jella, how are you today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more about yourself to our listeners.
Absolutely, Sheena. I'm feeling really good. Like you mentioned, first of all, my name is Jella Jornales, and I am an ethical fashion blogger, which I think here in the Philippines is still kind of a foreign concept. I'm 29 years old, and I am currently based in Makati, which is the business district of the Philippines. I'm passionate about sustainability, minimalism, conscious living, and social justice. I also volunteer for Fashion Revolution Philippines, which is part of a global movement, a movement that's actually growing with at least 92 countries participating, including the Philippines. And basically, our advocacy is to fight for greater transparency and ethics in the fashion industry. When I'm not busy doing those things, you'll probably find me in a coffee shop talking to a new friend, because I love connecting with new people and finding out what they're passionate about.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And I think that's great what you're doing, especially in the Philippines. You know, it may sound foreign to them, but the best thing is, you can create something new out there, right? Create something that people have never heard of.
Yes, yeah, and I think it's just really about educating people and raising awareness. So that's where we're starting.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And Jella, what's your cultural background?
I'm Filipino, so I was born and raised here in the Philippines. I've moved around quite a lot, both here in the country and also abroad. But I spent half of my life living in a really small town called Claveria, which is about 2 hours away from Cagayan de Oro City, so that's down south. My dad's mother, however, is Chinese, so I guess that makes me quarter Chinese too, if that counts.
Awesome. And of course it counts. So thanks for sharing that. And Jella, what would be your favorite self-confidence quote?
Oh my gosh, I have a lot, but there's one that I really resonate with, and it's one of my favorites by Daniel Maher, and it's "Confidence is courage at ease." And the reason why I love that so much is because to me it means stepping out in faith, stepping out to the unknown, and still trusting that something beautiful is going to result in that leap of faith. It's being able to embrace the process and also being okay with the waiting, if that makes sense.
Totally. I mean, confidence isn't always about looking and feel like, showing everyone that you're confident. Sometimes we get scared, right? We have butterflies in our stomach, we stutter, we have sweaty palms, but it's just going out there and doing it regardless of all that, what gives us confidence. And sometimes just, knowing that we've fallen and being okay with that and just having the courage to get back up again, no matter how many times we fall down. So I really love that quote that you mentioned, because courage is like the formula for confidence, no matter how scared we get, and we all get scared, right?
Right? Like we always see someone and we're like, they've always been confident. And then until you talk to them, and it's totally a different story. And I think no matter how much you've spoken, if you've been in the industry, if you've been a public speaker, let's say for 10 years, I think they still get nervous, going up on stage. And so I think that's everyone.
Yeah, no, it's true. I think it was Bono who mentioned that before he gets on stage, he still gets scared, but he uses that fear to go out there and do his best. So even as someone's, as famous as him, still gets scared. So I think it's great that, we can relate to that. And in your own words, how do you define self-confidence?
For me, it's really a journey of self-discovery. It's knowing who you are deep inside. It's embracing not just your strengths, but also your weaknesses. It's knowing your identity and not relying on, because we tend to sometimes rely on people's validations, especially nowadays, through likes or comments or, so it's for me also being okay with failing and being humble when you succeed. And confidence paired with humility, that for me is the real trait of a truly confident person, and that's always who I look up to.
Thanks for sharing that great definition. It's so true. Like we live in a world where like social media does, have a measure for validation, not realizing like we are more than enough to go out there and, do the things that we want, be the person who we are. And I think if we just remind ourselves that, we are more than enough, we can go out there and have the confidence to go and do what we love, live life on our terms. So I really love that definition that you mentioned. And Jella, what was your life like before your discovery of self-confidence?
Well, I was actually pretty confident as a young kid. I was always hyper and just like doing things up until I was about 10 or 12. That's when everything changed. That's when I started getting insecure and, started questioning my worth. I don't know if that's just part of growing up or the environment that I was raised in. It could even be a cultural thing because, here in the Philippines, we aren't really taught to express ourselves and speak up as kids. I mean, at least that's how it was for me. And I wanted everyone to like me, so I was always just this nice girl who agreed with everyone. And even when I did okay in school, I felt like I was never good enough, to the point where I wouldn't even raise my hands up in class, even when I knew the answer, because I was so afraid to make a mistake. I cared so much about people's opinion of me, and I also had social anxiety, so that didn't help. And my friends now would probably be shocked to know this, but I was also really shy and soft-spoken. And I even remember this one instance in high school when I had to present in class, right? So I had to go in front and present, and one of my classmates made a comment and kind of shouted it from the back out loud and said that he couldn't hear me and that I needed a microphone. And that comment stuck with me, and it really crushed my confidence even more. So I guess, instances like that, I guess, played a huge part of why I wasn't confident growing up. And also, my parents were always busy with our business, so they weren't really around a lot. And my mom is a very shy person. My dad isn't very expressive either, and none of them were confrontational. So I guess you could say that we don't really discuss things at home. In fact, growing up, I don't remember a single time when I actually sat down with any of my parents and discussed anything with them. That's same with my brothers. But just to clarify though, my mom and I are now very close and we are like best friends and tell each other anything. So I'm really happy that changed. And as a young adult, I was a people pleaser. I didn't know who I was, so I let other people tell me who I should be. So if I was in a group where everyone partied, I'd party. If I was in a group where everyone gossiped, I'd gossip. If I was around people who were genuinely nice, I saw my good side come out too. And I don't know, I just so badly wanted to fit in, to be cool enough to be seen. And I wanted people's validation. I wanted them to give me the feeling that I was accepted. And unfortunately, because of that, I also lost myself in the process.
Thanks for sharing that. And I think that's something we all go through, right? Especially, as kids, we grow up not knowing anything, right? So we don't have fear or these feelings of like validation. We just go out there and do what we love. And, society, tells us certain things, like, especially as women, especially as Asian women, it's like, you can't do this, you can't do that. You have to be the good daughter, the good wife, the good sister, whatever it is. And it's like, we're taught this one route, right? One way of living. And if we go outside of that, we're considered, disobedient, crazy, wild, not realizing like there's more than one way to live your life. And I think that's something that most of us don't realize, right? I'm the same, I lived in the Philippines, Chinese family, and there's certain things girls should do, right? And we all go through that, right? We all go through, not feeling not worthy enough, not feeling we have to be, like you mentioned, be part of the cool kids, not really realizing we're more than enough, right? And what was that point in your life when you realized, you're amazing, you're worthy enough to go out there and do the things that you love, be the person that you are? What was that aha moment?
Well, it started when I was living and working abroad. I think I was pretty much, well, the journey started when I was 17. And while being there, I met people from different walks of life. So people from different countries that I worked with. People who were different from me and who were okay with being different around me. So they were just being themselves. And it changed my perspective. And I admired these people for how they showed up to the world. And I started then to feel like I could be who I was unapologetically too because of that. At that time, I also reconnected with my faith, which played a huge role in my self-confidence now. I developed a deep belief in my own worthiness because of the unconditional love I received from God, and that made me able to truly feel confident deep inside and not just going through the motions on the outside. Because for a while too, I was trying to, people saw me as like confident outside, but deep inside, I really was not. And so that really changed it for me. Also, this year has been one of the hardest years of my life so far, and it's in these times that I've learned that confidence is also admitting to ourselves, to myself, when I'm not okay, when we are not okay, and not being ashamed to ask for help, and that it's okay to not be okay, and that pain is necessary for growth, and then using that as fuel to get back up again. And I've learned that being confident doesn't always have to be loud. And you mentioned that earlier, which I really love, that sometimes the most confident people have this quiet strength in them.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And it's true, right? A lot of people see confidence as being loud and boisterous and like aggressive. But honestly, you can still be, an introvert and still be confident at the same time. It's just learning what your definition of confidence is and going out there and doing what you love. So I really love that you mentioned that. And and it's true. We all go through hard times in our life. And we always have, I always now see what good can come out of it. And when we can see it in that perspective, it makes us appreciate the hard times in our life, because if it wasn't for that, then we wouldn't grow as a person. We wouldn't be as strong and confident and have that courage to keep on going. So because of these realizations, what's your life been like now?
Well, like everyone else, I'm still a work in progress, but I've definitely learned to love who I am more and more each day, especially in the last 2 years. I've learned to not take things personally, and I'm learning to really embrace who I am and who God made me to be. So this journey made me realize that everyone is unique and has a space in this world, that I am unique and I have a space in this world. And I love what Dale Earnhardt said. I love quotes, so I'm going to quote another one. He said that we've had confidence in ourselves all along. It was just a matter of getting the pieces back in place. And that's what I started doing. So very slowly, I had to put the pieces back in place.
Thanks for sharing that. And I love that quote that you mentioned. I believe that too, that confidence is within us. It's just sometimes we might get lost, when life happens, but we can always get it back or find it back or find ways to bring it back to us so we can go out there and, love ourselves, be our authentic selves and enjoy life, right? So I really love that. Thanks for sharing that. And Jella, to the woman who is listening to your episode, she may be in her own journey of self-confidence. What would be that one tip you would give to her?
Just be your authentic self. Whoever is listening right now, just be yourself, because that is the best version of you that you can be. Stop comparing yourself to others. And I know this is really hard, especially in the age of social media. Even I struggle with that sometimes, and I have to remind myself that I can't compare my behind the scenes to people's highlight reels, because that's what we post, right? Like the good times most of the time. And so it's so easy to feel insecure and to compare ourselves to others who are maybe traveling and who are doing what we want to do. What I'm saying is you can be inspired by others. It's okay to look up to someone, but at the end of the day, you have to be you because that's how people are going to connect with you. That's how you'll find your tribe. The people who will love you for you, that's the only way you'll attract the right relationships and the right opportunities that are aligned with your values. And also while in your journey of self-discovery, please give yourself grace in the process because it's not always going to be easy and you'll stumble every now and then. And also know that you are fearfully, beautifully, and wonderfully made. I think that sometimes we forget to choose ourselves and it can, so sometimes it's scary to do so because society tells us to do the opposite. But we must choose ourselves because it's the only way that we can fully show up to the world and stay true to our values. And to the woman who is listening right now, I want you to know that you are worthy and that you are so worth loving. So always remember that and don't ever let anyone dim your light because you have something unique that only you can offer to this world.
Thanks for sharing those tips. And, I love how you mentioned not comparing your behind the scenes to the highlight reels of other people because we're all guilty of that. I'm guilty of that as well. And we just have to remember that sometimes, what you see on social media isn't always, the real thing, right? And we just have to learn to just, kind of let go of that notion. I know it's easier said than done, but the more you practice it, the easier it gets. So thanks for sharing that. And Jella, if our listeners wanted to get to know a little bit more about you and what you do, is there any links or social media profiles we can connect with?
Yes, absolutely. I actually love community. And so, for anyone who wants to know more about ethical fashion, sustainable travel, conscious lifestyle, or just really wanted to say hi because they resonated with what I said in this episode, I would love to talk to you and I would love to be friends with you. So on Instagram, I'm at Jella Jornales. That's my name. So yeah, I hope to see people there. I hope to see you guys there.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. To our listeners, if you want to connect with Jella, you can also head on over to thetaoofselfconfidence.com and search for Jella's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else that we talked about. And I just really want to thank Jella for taking the time to share her story and tips with us on self-confidence. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Sheena, I just want to take this opportunity to thank you as well for inviting me to be a part of this. It's an honor to be here. I'm actually a huge fan of what you do. I've listened to maybe at least 20 of your episodes so far. And I just want to thank you for using this platform to show others that they too can work on their self-confidence and for reminding people that they have this inner self-confidence that it just has to be developed and to come out. And I can't wait to listen to your future episodes. So thank you for doing what you do.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. And it was really an honor having you on the show. And to our listeners, be on the lookout for another new episode of another amazing woman's journey to self-confidence. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of The Tao of Self-Confidence. Get your free audiobook by visiting our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits.